All right, we're going to continue with arrays. Now we're going to look at some different ways that we can loop through the array and display that to the screen. And we're going to kind of build this up slowly and, like I said, look at a few different ways to do this. So I'm going to copy and paste some code in here. One way we can do this is to use a for loop. The way the for loop is going to work is we're going to have a counter, and we'll start with 0 and just go while the counter is less than 4, and then increment our counter by 1. Then we can echo or print out our array, and we will pass it the counter. Now the reason I'm showing you this is because in the textbook that we're using, this is the way that's used. So I want to take some variations on this to take it a little further. Let's go ahead and take a look at how that works. So that prints it out nicely. Now we got a problem though. If we use a counter and we hard code in these numbers, we've got a problem. If we add another mythical beast here, I'm running short on these. I'm going to just go with unicorn. I know they're overly popular. And I run this, we're gonna have a problem. It doesn't see it, or if depending how you're, it should maybe get an out of bounds exception. Take care of that. You can use the size of function and pass it the array. So size of just looks at, hey, how big's this array? And now we can go ahead and run this. And indeed, the unicorn now shows up. Okay, so that works pretty well. But one of the things we have here is counter starts to get messy at this point to me. It's a little big. It's good for getting started when you're first learning for loops. But what's more common is to use the letter I for integer value, or sometimes n. And so let's just change that so you can see what that looks like. So in this case, I'm just going to select counter, and we'll put in I. You can see that we have for I equals 0, while I is less than the size of the mythical beast. And then we're going to increment I. Now there's more we can do to shorten this up, but you get the idea that we're passing I now is taking the integer value and we're passing it into the array. Let's test that. I refresh it, all's good. Okay, one way that's very popular to loop through an array in PHP is to use a for each statement. And so let's take a look at that. This does the same thing, and the way it works with for each is we pass it the name of the array and then use the keyword as, and then another variable, which is actually going to store the value in that array. Typically you name your array in the plural, and then when we're using the for each, I could use mythical beast. It just seemed a little long, so I just put beast. There's other ways and other conventions for this, but this will work well for where we're at. Then the nice part of this is when we echo or print out the value, we can just put this value here, beast. We don't have to put the array name and use the index value like we did with the for statement. So let's just run that. I'm going to comment that out real quick, and let's take a look at this. Refresh it, and as you can see, nothing's changed. Those are just a couple ways you can loop through an array to get the elements, and thank you for watching.